Hello and welcome back to another instalment of Craig on Cars. Today I'm really excited to be sharing with you an episode on this, a Daimler Double Six, what has to be surely one of the most elegant cars ever produced. We're going to be having a look around the car, having a chat with the owner Andy, and perhaps even going for a drive. But before we kick on with the episode, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody who's been watching and subscribing to the channel so far. Please do remember to like and share the videos so everybody else gets to see.
It was all started by my great uncle who had Jaguar Xj as his company car. And my first car memory is sitting on his lap driving around the car park of Swansea Airport. And after that, as my mother tells me now, I started to name Jaguar Xj's, and then I could name everything that was Jaguar, and then of course it just kept on going from there. Oh, this means a lot to me. I mean, this is the first Jag V12 that I've had, but I bought this as a car that I could take to classic car meetings, but I could take my son with me. So this car has actually had Isofix fitted to it, so I can get my little one's car seat in the back, and he absolutely loves it. It's one of the first words he learned to say was Daimler, and he loves coming to car meetings with me, and we go in this.
I love the Daimler.
Which is your favourite car?
That one.
Well, I think it's the enjoyment of driving something that's different. All the cars I've got are different. This is obviously completely different than driving a V12 Aston Martin. And I enjoy the variety of the cars. You know, they're all suitable for different occasions. I drove a Series 3 V12 in Bristol. As soon as you got behind the wheel and you turn the corner and away you go down the road, I thought, I've got to have one of these. These are fantastic. I wanted the Jaguar Racing Green. I wanted a light interior because I wanted it to be as British as possible. So this car was sold new in Japan, and at the back it's got the original Jaguar Japan Limited sticker in it. It's very low mileage. It's done around about 56,000 miles, and it was brought back into the country by a dealer in Durham who saw it on a Japanese auction site and thought he's got to have that as a bit of something different. I saw it advertised, went to see the car, and thought, yeah, that's fantastic, that's what I want, and we did the deal there and then. Certainly I think the lowest point was discovering how thirsty it was, but I kind of forget about that now and just enjoy driving it. We've been on some great family days out with it. I think I took it to Maguire's, the car detailing experts, and they spent a lot of time on the body for me in their detailing bay, and driving it back from Maguire's with the sun out was absolutely fantastic. Didn't miss a beat. She was brilliant.
And brilliant it is. I mean, just look at it. Now let's address the elephant in the room. This car looks a lot like the Jaguar Xj, but there's not a single Jaguar badge in sight. Why? Well, Jaguar bought the Daimler company in 1960 and continued to produce Daimlers whilst using the name to differentiate its highest spec models from standard Jaguars. The XJ was first launched in 1968, and a few years later the Double Six name was resurrected from the big V12 Daimlers of the 1920s and 30s. The Double Six differed from the standard XJ, with the Daimler fluting on the front grille and the rear boot handle, and the interior came with a higher grade wood and leather. Let's not forget that 5.3 litre V12 with around 300 brake horsepower. It was also found in the Series 3 E-Type and the XJS. Many contemporary reports from the time considered the ride quality and smooth power delivery of the Double Six to be better than that of the Rolls-Royce Shadow, and at a fraction of the price. In 1979, Jaguar released the Series 3 XJ, which had subtle styling updates from the Italian styling house Pininfarina, and production continued until 1986, when the XJ40 was launched. But this Double Six is in 1991, so how does that work? Well, we'll come to that soon, just keep watching. I feel very privileged to be filming and driving this car today, so without further ado, let's do just that. Filming took place in the late evening, so please do forgive some of the lighting levels and some of the footage to come. So let's crack on. I've just started my first V12.
There we go.
Oh, it's it really is just effortless, isn't it?
Carry on, please, Jeeves. You do feel very stately. This is the first time I've been in the back of this car, and you do feel rather stately.
It was captains of industry and prime ministers, wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah, yeah. These were the cars that Maggie Thatcher had and John Major, the prime ministers of the day.
They stopped making the Series 3 in '86, I think, replaced it with the XJ40, but kept making the V12 in this shape.
Yeah,
because they couldn't fit it into the XJ40.
They couldn't. You're quite right.
And,
yeah, they couldn't fit it in, and they still wanted. You know, there was still a demand for the V12s.
Yeah. Oh, it picks up, doesn't it?
Give it a little bit of gas, and it'll pop along. I dare say it's probably missing a few of the horsepower that it had when it came out of the factory, but it was never built as that. It was always built as a not even a Grand Tourer, but a mile muncher. You could spend hours and hours either driving this car or sat in the back of it, and you wouldn't feel it.
No.
Your wallet would feel it in terms of the fuel bill, that's for sure.
It's very, very smooth.
Yeah. And it's quiet. No, you're driving it. This is a 30-year-old car. And okay, it's got the odd little whack.
It's a 30-year-old car, but it's a 50-year-old design, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's very quiet, very refined. And it handles, actually, going around the corner. So it's a long car, isn't it? But
everybody thinks that they're useless around corners. They're actually not.
Well, they had the saying, wasn't it? Grace, space and pace.
That's it. Yeah, that's what William Lyons, he built Jag on that saying. It's fun sometimes to put your foot down. You see the bonnet rise up, and it is very, very smooth. And then you have to stop at the next petrol station soon after doing that.
Oh dear. I suppose it's not proper to ask the MPG in a car like this.
No.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Well, that's it.
And it's got 2 fuel tanks as well. 2
fuel tanks, and you need them.
Is there like a switch that you have to toggle between the tanks?
Yeah, you've got a switch there that you can toggle between each tank. And she is very thirsty, you know. Typically, you're looking at around 12 mpg. If you put your foot down, then you're in single figures. But that doesn't matter, does it? You know,
it's the experience.
Indeed.
And just looking down the bonnet and seeing the curves of that bonnet.
A very subtle kind of bulge in the middle to house the V12, which is very, very subtle.
Yeah.
Lovely lines on it.
Just the gear stick. It's such a fabulous design, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just catching the reflection of this car in the windows as you go past, it does feel very special. And here we are, sir. We are arriving back at the manor.
You've driven very well today, Jeeves.
That engine just sounds so good.
You've not experienced what the car can do. Why don't you put the camera on? We just go for a little whiz up the road.
It does actually pin you back, doesn't it?
It's got more power than you think with it.
Yeah.
You never for once think that she's out of shape. You never once think
it really is handling, isn't it?
Yeah. You never for once think, oh, she's going to lose grip or anything like that.
What sort of reaction do you get from people, like as you're driving along, from either from other drivers of cars or from people walking along a pavement?
You get a lot of thumbs up. You get a lot of people, particularly kids. Some kids have never seen a car like this on the road. To them, it's totally alien, and they do stare at it. They don't really know what to make of it, you know. Classic car enthusiasts absolutely love it. You get the thumbs up as you go past. Have you seen the Board Speed version?
No.
So the Board Speed version is the same engine as this. It was a Series 2 XJ, and it was a 2.5 litre that had no right at all to race, and yet it was absolutely phenomenal on the racetrack. It was one of my favourite cars, and it's an absolute brutal monster of a car. And I'm lucky enough to have sat in it, but that was a Series 2 XJ, and it had no right to corner, no right to be on a racetrack, but by God, down the straights, it didn't half wheel the other cars in. They couldn't live with the power. Fabulous. Absolutely phenomenal. The noise of that is out of this world, really is out of this world. I love that car. That was another bit of inspiration to buy this car. It's the closest I'm going to get.
Yeah.
The old girl's still got a little bit of going on. She
does. Wow, what an unbelievable experience. I can't believe I've just got to drive my first V12 and on such a stunning car as the Daimler Double Six. Thank you to Andy, the owner, for being such a good sport and letting us film his car. Again, thanks to everybody who's been watching and tuning into the channel so far. Please keep liking and sharing those videos, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I can ask you questions. You can kind of bounce off each other. Oh, press the red button in. That's it.
British design.
Yeah.
I've just stalled my first V12.
It does do that. In reverse, it's probably this car, to be fair.
Well, thank you, sir.
No problem at all.